In the shadows of history, there are stories too horrifying to believe. Tales of families, tribes, and cults who fed not just on fear, but on flesh. You may think the monsters in your favorite horror movies are born from imagination, but what if I told you they were inspired by real people? Tonight, we enter the world of cannibal cults. True stories that birthed some of horror's most terrifying villains. The year was the 15th century. In the wild lands of Scotland, travelers vanished along lonely roads, never to return. The culprit, a man named Sawney Bean, and his family. They lived hidden in a coastal cave, nearly 50 of them, surviving not on crops or trade, but on the flesh of anyone unfortunate enough to cross their path. For 25 years, they killed and devoured, piece by piece, until their cave floor was littered with bones. Some say they feasted on over 1,000 souls. The legend of the Bean Clan became so infamous, it would later inspire one of horror's most savage tropes, the backwoods cannibal family, immortalized in films like The Hills Have Eyes. But Scotland wasn't alone in its darkness. Across the seas in West Africa, whispers spread of a secret brotherhood, the Leopard Society. By day, they blended with their villages. By night, they wore leopard skins and stalked their prey. When they struck, it was with claw-like weapons, tearing their victims apart. The ritual was always the same: flesh consumed in hopes of absorbing power, blood spilled to feed their gods. To outsiders, they were demons in human form, a cult that made the very jungle tremble with fear. And then, there are the stories closer to our time, and far more disturbing. In the early 1900s, a man named Albert Fish haunted the streets of America. He was known as the Gray Man. Fish kidnapped children, killed them, and even wrote letters to grieving parents describing how he cooked and ate their flesh. His confessions shocked the world, and decades later, they inspired the cold, refined terror of Hannibal Lecter. And in Japan, 1981, a young man named Issei Sagawa lured a classmate to dinner. By the end of the night, he had killed her, carved her body, and consumed her. Unlike others, he was never imprisoned for life. Instead, he became infamous, writing books, giving interviews, and smiling as he described the taste of human flesh. His story still circulates in horror culture, a reminder that monsters can walk among us. Cannibal cults of history, from Sawney Bean's cave to the Leopard Society to modern-day killers, all carved their place in horror. Filmmakers took these tales and twisted them into icons. Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs, the grotesque tribes of Cannibal Holocaust. But the truth, as always, is darker. The villains on screen fade when the credits roll. The real ones lived, hunted, and consumed in our world. Cannibalism is one of humanity's deepest taboos. Yet, from ancient cults to modern killers, it has returned again and again, like a nightmare that refuses to die. So the next time you see a horror villain sink their teeth into human flesh, remember, it isn't always fiction. Sometimes, it's history. If you were brave enough to make it to the end, drop a comment with the words, "I survived the tale." And don't forget to subscribe, because more terrifying stories are waiting.